He's admitted into certain rooms, but they're only a part of the whole, for there are barriers behind which there are more rooms. Not that he's actually forbidden to pass the barriers, but he can't very well push past them once he has met his chiefs and been dismissed by them. Besides, everybody is watched there, at least so we believe. And even if he did push on further, what good would it be to him if he had no official duties to carry out and were a mere intruder? And you mustn't imagine that these barriers are a definite dividing line. Barnabas is always impressing that on me. There are barriers even at the entrance to the rooms where he's admitted. So you see, there are barriers he can pass, and they're just the same as the ones he's never yet passed. Which looks as if one oughtn't to suppose that behind the ultimate barriers, the bureau are any different from those Barnabas has already seen. Only that's what we do suppose in moments of depression. And the doubt doesn't stop there. We can't keep it within bounds. Barnabas sees officials. Barnabas is given messengers. But who are those officials? And what are the messages? Now, so he says, he's assigned to Clam, who gives him his instructions in person. Well, that would be a great favor. Even higher grade servants don't get so far as that. It's almost too much to believe, almost terrifying. Only think, directly assigned to Clam, speaking with him face to face. But is it really the case? Well, suppose it is so. Then why does Barnabas doubt that the official who is referred to as Clam is really Clam? Olga, said Kay, you surely must be joking. How can there be any doubt about Clam's appearance? Everybody knows what he looks like. Even I have seen him. Of course not, Kay, said Olga. I'm not joking at all. I'm desperately serious. Yet I'm not telling you all this simply to relieve my own feelings and burden yours, but because Amalia charged me to tell you, since you were asking for Barnabas, and because I think too that it would be useful for you to know more about it. I'm doing it for Barnabas's sake as well, so that you won't pin too many hopes upon him and suffer disappointment, and make him suffer too because of your disappointment. He's very sensitive. For instance, he didn't sleep all night because you were displeased with him yesterday evening. He took you to say that it was a bad lookout for you to have only a messenger like him. These words kept him off his sleep. I don't suppose that you noticed how upset he was. For castle messengers must keep themselves well under control. But he hasn't had an easy time, not even with you. Although from your point of view, you don't ask too much of him. For you have your own prior conception of a messenger's powers and make your demands accordingly. But in the castle, they have a different conception of a messenger's duties which couldn't be reconciled with yours, even if Barnabas were to devote himself entirely to the task, which, unfortunately, he often seems inclined to do. Still, one would have to submit to that and raise no objection, if it weren't for the question whether Barnabas is really a messenger or not. Before you, of course, he can't express any doubt of it whatever. To do that would be to undermine his very existence and to offend grievously against laws which he believes himself still plighted to. And even to me, he doesn't speak freely. I have to cajole and kiss his doubts out of him. And even then, he refuses to admit that his doubts are doubts. He has something of Amalia in him, and I'm sure that he doesn't tell me everything, although I'm his sole confidant. But we do often speak about Clam, whom I've never seen. You know, Frida doesn't like me and has never let me look at him. Still, his appearance is well known in the village. Some people have seen him. Everybody has heard of him. And out of glimpses and rumors and through various distorting factors, an image of Clam has become constructed, which is certainly true in fundamentals, but only in fundamentals. In detail, it fluctuates, and yet perhaps not so much as Clam's real appearance. For he's reported as having one appearance when he comes into the village and another on leaving it. After having his beer, he looks different from what he does before it. When he's awake, he's different from when he's asleep. When he's alone, he's different from when he's talking to people. And what is comprehensible after all that? He's almost another person up in the castle. And even within the village, there are considerable differences in the accounts given of him. Differences as to his height, his bearing, his size, and the cut of his beard. Fortunately, there's one thing in which all the accounts agree. He always wears the same clothes, a black morning coat with long tails. Now, of course, all these differences aren't the result of magic, but can be easily explained. They depend on the mood of the observer, on the degree of his excitement, on the countless graduations of hope or despair which are possible for him when he sees Clam. And besides, he can usually see Clam only for a second or two. I'm telling you all this just as Barnabas has often told it to me, and on the whole, for anyone not personally interested in the matter, it would be a sufficient explanation. Not for us, however. It's a matter of life or death for Barnabas, whether it's really Clam he speaks to or not. And for me, no less, said Kay. And they moved nearer to each other on the settle.